Welcome to the Expect Success Podcast, a presentation of GeorgeBalek.com with your host, George Balek. This podcast is for all things personal development. Don't expect success, prepare for it. Please welcome your host, George Balek.
Welcome to Expect Success at GeorgeBalek.com. Now, in addition to listening to our podcast, you can also view the video format on YouTube at GeorgeTube.com. Robert Kiyosaki is an entrepreneur, educator, and investor best known as the author of Rich Dad, Poor Dad, the #1 personal finance book of all time. He has challenged and changed the way tens of millions of people around the world think about money. And he has become a passionate and outspoken advocate for financial education. In a minute, Robert is going to explain to us how rich people and you can avoid paying tax. Listen to Robert.
My game financially is business, #1. Second is real estate. And that's why I pay no taxes. That's why Trump pays no taxes. Legally, it is a combination of business and real estate that gives us an unfair advantage over employees because they don't know what to do.
There was an article in the New York Times on the front page about a week or two ago, and it was about Jared Kushner, right? So Trump's son-in-law, and about
you saw that same article.
Yeah,
and did you pick it up?
Yeah, I read it, and it was all about how
depreciation.
And he didn't pay any taxes, and his net worth was growing, and everyone's arms were up. Look at this guy; he's not paying taxes.
Yeah.
And this is the New York Times.
Yeah.
Okay, so considered a front runner in the news, showing us how bad this was. That this entrepreneur who grew his net worth by like 3 times or 4 times over the last 3 or 4 years. And I thought of you. What does that tell us? What do you see when you see that article?
Well, the New York Times article is an employee mindset, and they have no financial education. Somebody said Kushner has a loophole called depreciation. I go, you idiot. It's illegal. It's not a loophole. Depreciation is what the government wants us to do. So in other words, there's 3 things. There's appreciation, amortization, and depreciation. So the way guys like Trump and Kushner and the rich guys do it is called the McDonald's formula of business. So McDonald's has a business, right? They have a hamburger stand. And when you interview Ray Kroc, the founder of McDonald's, if you saw the the movie, The Founder, he gave the formula away. The business of McDonald's is not hamburgers. The business of McDonald's is real estate. And that's the formula. So every time you go past a McDonald's stand, you deserve a break today, eat at McDonald's. But they're not seeing the real game. The game is that little hamburger stand is buying the most expensive real estate in the world. So today McDonald's owns more real estate than the Catholic Church. But the rich are evil and all that. They just can't see it. So I have the Rich Dad company in the business side. So let's say I make $1 million. I don't want to pay tax on that. So I take that $1 million, instead of spending it on something stupid, I buy a piece of real estate. So let's say for $5 million. So I go from $1 million to $5 million. Then I appreciate, depreciate, and amortize that $5 million, and it offsets my $1 million in tax.
That's awesome. Now, for more from Robert Kiyosaki and to listen to the full episode regarding taxes, simply search YouTube and be sure to check out his website too, richdad.com. His famous book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, is available at his website and or Amazon.com. And if you like to take in your personal development while jogging like I do, good news, it's available in an audio format too. And remember, as the late, great Jim Rohn used to say, you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Today you've been hanging out with Robert Kiyosaki. Keep up the momentum. Subscribe to our newsletter so you never miss another episode. We'll catch you on the next show. And thanks again so much for listening. See ya.
Thanks so much for listening to this episode of the Expect Success Podcast with your host, George Balek. If you enjoyed today's podcast, please rate, subscribe, and review. And find more great content online at GeorgeBalek.com and on Facebook and Twitter at George Balek. We'll catch you next time. And remember, don't just expect success, prepare for it.